John and Will, Law of Polaris, thank you all for tuning in. Shout out to my boy Bobby and a lot of you in the comments that requested this one. I figure if I'm going to do the top 5 most disappointing teams, I might as well do the top 5 surprising teams. This list was a little harder to put together, and a lot of the craziness that happened in week 15 really didn't help my argument, but I think all in all, you'll find that this list makes a lot of sense. We can argue about the placement where I put some of the teams, but I'm pretty sure I'll hear about that in the comments, and always interested to see what you guys got to say. Alright, so the one and only honorable mention, I gotta say the Dallas Cowboys. Now the reason they're on this list and only as an honorable mention is because if you would have told me at the beginning of the season that the Cowboys would be 8-6 and leading the NFC East by this time, honestly I would not be surprised. The media was completely doom and gloom about the Cowboys last year, but ignored the fact that, hey, they were 9-7 and barely missed the playoffs, and that was with missing their biggest weapon on offense for 6 games. So when the Cowboys set at 3-5 by week 9, third in the division, it did look like it was all over for the Cowboys. Dak was playing horribly, the pass game was non-existent, and even Zeke wasn't getting off those explosive plays that we saw from him in the prior 2 seasons. But all of a sudden, Amari Cooper comes over. Took him a while to get it started, but he seemed to be the missing piece that this Dallas offense was missing this whole season. The Cowboys pulled off a 5-game win streak, and not only would the offense click, but the defense would come alive out of nowhere. Now that shutout against Indy aside, the Cowboys are still most likely going to finish 10-6 or 9-7, win this division, and host a playoff game. And I'd say no one saw this coming at the midpoint of the season. Coming in at number 5, the Seattle Seahawks. Now let's be honest, we were ready to completely write the Seahawks off at the beginning of the season. Do you remember what everybody was saying? Russell Wilson's going to get killed, there's no O-line, they don't really have a true running back. Legion of Boom, done. Richard Sherman's gone, Michael Bennett's gone, Cam Chancellor out for the season, Earl Thomas holding out. Is this the end of the Pete Carroll era? And with the Rams adding huge names to their defense and the hype around Jimmy Garoppolo, everyone was predicting that the Seahawks would be battling the Cardinals for the last place in that division, and they would miss the playoffs for the 2nd year in a row. And after that 0-2 start, it looked like that's exactly what was going to happen. But cut to week 16. Even after that embarrassing loss to the Niners, really Seahawks, Niners, the Seahawks sit comfortably at the 5th seed and will most likely clinch a playoff spot, even if they drop the game this week into Kansas City. They lead the league in rushing yards, led by the 7th round pick from last year, Chris Carson. And the new names in this defense, they've stepped up. Number 4, Indianapolis Colts. So we didn't really know what to expect from the Colts with, Andrew Luck coming back after being absent for an entire calendar year. First-time head coach Frank Reich. Andrew Luck is an exceptional talent. He makes your team a playoff caliber team. And this was an AFC South that looked very beatable. But when the Colts set at 1-5 by week 6, that was done. They were done. We were talking about the Colts possibly picking with the 1st overall pick. But then the Colts went on an amazing 5-game win streak where Andrew Luck was playing lights out. 16 touchdowns to 3 interceptions in that 5-game stretch. The Colts have won 7 of their last 8, including last week's shutout against the Cowboys. That was the first time the Cowboys were shut out, I think, since 1993, I think they're saying. And this defense is also playing better and better each week. They're in the top 10 against the run, top 10 in takeaways. Even after starting 1-5, they have a clear shot at sneaking into the playoffs. No one saw this coming. Number 3, the Kansas City Chiefs. I know. The Chiefs are a good team. They were a good team the year before. They were a good team the year before that. Why are they on this list? Listen, as I mentioned in my last video, Andy Reid took a gamble by saying goodbye to Alex Smith, who was coming off of his 2nd straight Pro Bowl and was red hot with this Chiefs offense. He handed the keys to Patrick Mahomes in his 2nd year. Now, Mahomes was drafted 10th overall for a reason, but we barely ever see a quarterback in his 1st year come out and play like a seasoned vet. And the sports world figured, hey, if the Chiefs were 10-6 last year, and Mahomes is coming back with basically the same weapons on offense, being his 1st year starting, being that he's going to make mistakes, he's going to go out and play like a rookie. If the Chiefs are 10-6 again, or maybe 9-7, hey, that's a win for the Chiefs. Eventually, they'll get back to where they were with Alex Smith. That's what everyone thought. But as we all saw, Patrick Mahomes, he blew those expectations out of the water. We knew the Chiefs were going to be good. We didn't know they would be this good. Not only is Mahomes crushing records and outperforming any season Alex Smith has had in the Chiefs uniform, or any season Alex Smith had in his career. I mean, he's on the way of giving Andy Reid his first #1 seed since he was a coach of the Eagles back in 2004. They went to the Super Bowl then. And this is the first time the Chiefs would have home field advantage if they can hang on since 1997. That's provided they can survive the Chargers. Alright, so the last two on this list, I guess you guys at this point know where this is headed. No secret here, it's between the Browns and the Bears. Now I gotta give the Browns a second place. Now look, you gotta do better than 0-16. We knew, or we hoped, the Browns would at least win 3 games. But according to most analysts, 4-12 looked to be the most realistic outcome for a Browns team that plays in a division with the Steelers and the Ravens. They also had to play the AFC West and the NFC South this year, which most of us thought at the beginning of the season it was very realistic that there would be 3 NFC South teams in the playoffs this year. And when the Browns sat at 2-5-1 and fired their head coach and their offensive coordinator, I mean, it really didn't look like the Browns would make it past that 4-win mark that we all predicted. But under Greg Williams and Freddie Kitchens, the Browns did a complete 180. They've been 5-2 since, and minus that game against the Chiefs, they are allowing no more than 20 points per game. And Baker Mayfield has had near a perfect quarterback rating in 3 of the last 5 games, clearly separating himself from his other 4 draft mates. Now, no one at this point of the season could have predicted the Browns being 2 games back from having a playoff spot or even leading in their division this late in the year. Why are they only number 2? Well, I think the reason they're only 2 games back in the AFC North is because, let's be honest, the Steelers and the Ravens aren't really that dominant this year, at least not as dominant as we thought they would be. So looking at our #1 team now, the winner, the Chicago Bears, I mean, that same argument could be made about the NFC North, right? We thought the Packers, we thought the Vikings, we thought they were going to be dominant, we thought they were going to own this division. But I have to give #1 to the Bears because not only are they playing better than expected, they are flat out kicking ass. I mean, we were sure if there was any team that was going to be in the basement of their division, it would be the Chicago Bears in the NFC North. And they clinched this division by a mile. And the Bears have their first winning season since 2012. I mean, it's funny because it seems like the Bears can never be a playoff team unless they have an amazing defense and an okay quarterback. #3 in scoring defense, #2 against the run, first in interceptions. And after seeing how they were able to shut down the Rams and hold them to a season low of 6 points, I'm telling you, nobody wants to see the Chicago Bears in the playoffs. Anyway, that's my list of most surprising teams for 2018. You know what? I like this. I think this is something we should do every season. Let me know in the comments. If you disagree with the ordering, who would you put #1? Who would you put #2? Who did I leave off the list? You let me know. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Please subscribe. See you on the other side.